Hey, this is your Uncle Brent, and Ronell and I are coming at you. You are listening to the Sound Pollution Podcast.
This is another re-release during our little break. I am re-releasing the Rowdy Shadehouse, episode 18.
What? We
are purposely re-releasing this specific episode because it is a funkable, that's not right. It is, fuck!
You need to leave that in there.
No way!
It's a funkable.
You know what, fuck it. Funky, danceable, dirty grooves by the very cool Rowdy Shadehouse. We have tried to get them on the show again. They need to contact me so we can do so. We think it's some good music, a fun interview while you're getting ready for your New Year's Eve.
Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year's! We all made it!
Please remember to like, subscribe, and download. And remember, make some noise!
First thing I want to ask is I've seen some of your live stuff. Actually, I've seen a lot of your live stuff because I really liked it. And I want to go. I want to go very badly. That looks like so much fun. But there's a lot of people on stage. How many people are actually in the group?
We usually have anywhere from, we've done at 4, like the 4 horsemen setup is what we like to call it. And we've gone up to almost 20 people on stage. So including horn sections, we've percussionists, we've had backup singers, like we've done, like that's what I think is like the great thing about the Rowdy Shadehouse is it's like a band that can do it all. It could go like 4-man setup, like Rock Your World, or go the full James Brown setup, you know, and just it all night.
It looked like there was a lot of people on stage, especially with the horns. I really like the horns a lot.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
It's so good. It is ridiculous. And it looks like so much fun. Now, the ones that I saw that had like a lot of people, that was a funk fest. What was that?
Well, you're probably referring to the one that you saw online at Bluebird. Yep. It was like a concert. Yeah, it was the Bluebird.
Yeah, we'd sold that one out. So there was probably like at least like 600 people in the audience. And so we were just like, there's a lot of energy. And it is just a ton of fun. When everybody starts dancing, probably about 2/3 way through the show, there gets to be this mist over the crowd. You see it every time we play, but there's just like this really thick mist, and it's awesome. It's awesome. It's probably one of the greatest things. It gets kind of gross because at the Fox Theater we actually made it rain inside, which was actually kind of weird because it wasn't raining.
Right.
It was sweat. Yeah, it was like dripping from the ceiling onto us.
I mean, that's still cool.
Oh, it was fucking rock.
Bragging rights.
Like, it was rock and roll. Yeah, it was fun. But yeah, I just like it. Like I just love that whole energy, that whole dirty nastiness of it. And that's probably one of the biggest things that we've missed about the whole COVID thing that's happened.
Yeah.
Is other bands can go out there because they're just up there doing their thing, but we are the band that encourages that dropping of all your inhibitions, you know what I mean, and let's go for it, and touch the person next to you, and fucking, you know, appropriately and with consent, of course. But lose yourself in the moment, like that band, and it's kind of unfortunate that right now, like we're unable to like toe that line because of the fact, and people have asked us, it's crazy all through the pandemic, people have been offering us money to play and stuff, and we're like, no, you know, it's like, it's really, and we don't want to be caught on I couldn't post everything I post on my Facebook and then go out and like play some gigs and stuff, you know what I mean? I understand.
Right, they'd be like, wait a minute.
Exactly, I understand that the entertainment scene is really suffering everywhere, mm-hmm. All over the country it is, and I'm pretty sure all over the world, you know, but it's just like, I don't know, we gotta ride it out. We've got to ride it out because, you know what, people are the reason why we do this. And if we take away our audience, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, what's that?
You can't.
We're going to kill our audience. Like, that's right. Like, what's that? I can't. That's a comedy sketch. But yeah, no, it's just like, we do this for people. So, I mean, if we didn't have that in mind, if we weren't true humanitarians, which we are, we would have not been able to play, you know, like we would have already gone out. So we just can't do it because of our message, you know?
Right. But what I found interesting, and I don't know if you guys are feeling that in like the Denver music scene, is it's kind of brought musicians where I'm at together in a different way. A lot of people are writing together without being together, and they're kind of like reaching out for each other for inspiration. Are you seeing a lot of that there, or some of that at least?
I unfortunately see a lot of division. I don't know. I see a lot of
there's a
division.
Really?
Reaching out to musicians that most of them are ready to come out of the COVID and start handling the musicianship. And that's what I've noticed lately. They're all kind of coming out and just urging to get something done. I've noticed that. And doing people are talking about live streaming because right now the bar gigs, the gigs that people are getting around here are just not what they used to be. The turnout for it is not as much. Getting paid for it isn't as much anymore. And what I've noticed is people are trying to get more projects going at a particular point just to spread out and see if they can pull some money in, I think.
It would be nice, like me and my buddy Octavius, we actually purchased because like we're really involved in the entertainment scene, not just the music scene.
Right.
But we've set up entertainment events for the city of Denver, like Denver Mardi Gras, a bunch of different things. We bought a channel on Twitch so that people could go on there, any bands or whatever, do their thing and get paid for it without us collecting any money or anything like that. It would go straight into their PayPal accounts. It's something that was very inexpensive for us to do.
That's cool.
It was like $140 or something like that for the year, which is like ridiculously cheap. So, and we know that we've been cycling a lot of burlesque through that because we see who's on there and who's not. So mostly the burlesque acts have been using it and utilizing it. I wish there was some sort of coalition of artists that we could all just like lean on each other and like continue making stuff. But right now, everybody's, I think, a little afraid to try to do anything. You know what I mean? And they're afraid of a lot of things because there's a huge amount of uncertainty right now.
Right.
So it's just like, it's crazy that we're all staying away from each other, but it's all kind of agreed on. Like it's all kind of, but then there's some that are like, no, let's get out there, and they're trying to play the streets and stuff. Like there's bands that take to the streets and play live, and I don't really agree with that.
Right.
That's the whole COVID thing. I don't know. Like I said, there's just a lot of division. A lot of people want something, but they don't know who to blame or how to really get it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they're just like and everybody.
A lot of frustration. Yeah.
So there's just a lot of angst, a lot of anxiety because no one knows what's going to happen.
No, and nobody knows what to do. Have you been practicing a lot though? Have you come up with new material while you're stuck at home?
Oh, the silver lining is, you get in, you get fit, you heal up, you really test the resolve. I think right now the bands that are going to emerge from all this are either going to be brand new or they're going to be the bands that are really in it. You know what I mean? And that's like the good thing because, I just hate to say it, but, too many chefs in a kitchen, soup's going to turn out gross, so you got to have some level, some bar if everybody's just rushing the scene. So hopefully this kind of like lets people realize, do I really want to be a musician, or is this something that I just kind of like fleeting, or is it just like, is it a selfish thing? Like, because there's people out there, people better than us, that are really trying to put something out, and I would love to have those bands heard. You know what I mean? Have those stories heard. So
here in Denver, just to add on that, there were a lot of really big bands here in Denver a year ago, and I know a couple that have just absolutely disintegrated. They've just all disbanded, and it's like, I know one in particular, he doesn't know how to get a band together because he has to find all the musicians, but to relearn all the material is about a year's worth of practice. Some of their set lists are pretty complicated, and then you feel bad for them and stuff.
I think it's teaching a lot of young musicians too how hard it can really be from the get-go. Like you said, kind of testing the resolve. Like if you can't get through this, what happens when that album flops and you got to try again?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They all can't be zingers. You know what I mean? Like not every fucking show is going to be a sellout. You're going to have to play those restaurant shows for a while,
Yeah, go to the bar and there's like 3 people there, and you're like, well, you do what you can do.
Oh yeah, we loved shows like that back in the day. We would show up and we would see like 2 or 3 people at the bar. We'd be like, these people are about to get the fucking show of their lives. And we would just fucking freak out, and they would just be like, oh my god, like we would just like have such a great time with these people, because we'd be like, Yeah, like you guys, like you and you, like I don't know. It's just you gotta love it, you know. And if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life.
So how long have you all been together? What started the Rowdy Shadehouse?
Well, I was beatboxing on tour with this like rap group, and so we had toured all around like the mountains and stuff, and we ended up at this rundown fucking sex club called the MNO off of Colorado Boulevard, is like South Colorado, and we were signing with this, like we were signing up to do, I guess, a couple gigs around Colorado with this the bar owner, this lady who knew some people apparently. So the guy that brought us around was doing this, and these guys were playing there. These guys, and they weren't the Rowdy Shadehouse. They had Eldon Jones. They had Chris, yeah, remember Eldon? And then Chris Marquez and him, and they were just up there, and they were doing the worst version of fucking Sandcastle Magic I've ever heard in my life. It was just Eldon Jones playing the drums and singing, and he wasn't singing the lyrics. It was him just going, "By dragonfly, by dragonfly," like, and he just kept doing that, "By dragonfly," and then they'd all get together and go, "Sandcastle Magic." I was like, what? Like, you know, and I was like, and so they went on break, and I don't know what I had a couple shots of tequila. I don't know. I went up to him and was like, dude, you guys should let me hit the stage with you for a couple notes. And him and Chris were like, fuck it, this place sucks. Like, let's do it. Like, what's gonna hurt? And Ellen was like, no. Let's. And they finally convinced Ellen to let me on stage. I just fucking went off. And I remember looking at all of them and going, guys, literally, that was fucking awesome. Because by the end of it, we had everybody up and dancing and getting into it. And it was totally off the cuff. Like, it was totally, like, all of our songs were just right off the cuff. And we came out with multiple different songs. We played for like an hour. Yeah. And then by the end of it, I just looked at him, and literally we were outside. I was smoking weed with Chris, and he was having a cigarette. And I was like, guys, what are you doing with the rest of your lives? Like, yeah, I know it sounds but I was like, that was fucking awesome. Like, 'cause at the time I was just beatboxing, you know?
Right.
And I knew that wasn't going to go anywhere, because that's like more of a parlor trick, you know what I mean? Like, I can beatbox really well. I can sing and beatbox at the same time, like Roselle, you know, do that. But it's like, what is that? You know what I mean? I want to be a rock star, you know what I mean? Like, that's awesome. And so, yeah, and then we got in, and even before we hit the stage, what did we practice for like 3 or 4 months straight? Mm-hmm. Like, before we even hit the stage, it was just like all night practices, all night. I would get off work at like fucking 6 o'clock, and I'd be over at the band house till like 1 or 2, and then I'd get up and go back to work, and then we'd come, and we did that for like 3 months, and then finally we hit the stage at Bushwhackers, and
we started at the absolute bottom. It was just at the absolute bottom. Rundown bars. They'd be like, we had our fair share of shows where there was like 7 people in the audience. You know, man, it was tough at the beginning. It really was. Or the bars that have no stage, and you have to set up, you know, on the floor, and everything's getting kicked around, and come on, I'm performing here. Yeah, we had definitely went the downs for a while.
Yeah, the downs. Yeah, the downs. Yeah. But we had fun, and that's the whole thing, is we were making money, because we were gigging like fucking like 4 or 5 days a week.
Oh yeah, we were doing fucking every night.
4-hour sets. Yeah. I mean, I was so lean. You could have fucking put me on a skillet for like 2 minutes. I would have been straight done. Like, I was so lean. Like, I was, oh man, I was nice. You know, right now I'm all bulky and bad bod.
I think we all are right now. It's okay.
But yeah, man. And then, yeah, we were making some money, you know, and yeah, that was what, like 12 years ago now? 15, almost 15, no, 14. I'm not going to say 15, because I'm like 36, and that means that's.
It was a long time ago.
It was like 10 years ago, yeah. 26, about. So, yeah, then, you know, we've just been kind of challenging. It wasn't until after my wife left me that we started just freaking out, though.
Yeah, well.
Before that, we were pretty, like, rock, blues, like, da-da-da-da-da. And then after she left me, because of me... Because of me.
At least you own it. Hey.
Oh. Trust. It was a me that I didn't even know was me, because as soon as she left and we hit Rowdy Shadehouse full bore, I mean, you've seen the videos.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm throwing a fucking, like, our mascot, our band mascot, which is Dick Rambone, which is this huge 8-inch, like, dildo that has a fucking suction cup. And, it got real. It got very real, and we were just having a great time doing it. Like, sure, we met up with a lot of pushback, especially from the country places. But yeah, most often everybody loved it, loved the stage show.
So that just sort of happened? Like you just let loose and it just sort of happened?
Well, I was pushing that. Like I was pushed that, and then my ex was there, no, and then the first guitarist was like very no, and I mean, Chase and the drummer Max were just like, fuck yeah, like let him freak out,
like rock and roll, go to town.
Like I can see something's gonna happen here, especially me. Is like I see he's gonna freak out, like, and you should just let him do it. And like
there was a lot of that. There was a lot of other gigs we would play. It's like they'd be like, I don't know about this John guy, man. It's not working out. I was just like, look, let him do his thing.
Like out of nowhere, I'd be on stage, we'd be playing like a blues song, and I'd walk up to the fucking guitar, and I'd just start jerking it off. Like, yeah, and then I'd lick the tip, and Chris would be like, oh my God. Like, I would just like, and there would be little flashes of that, like that kind of shit on stage, and people would be like, whoa, what just happened? Did you see that? You see what he just did?
So, Chase, you're like the whole time, like any minute now, it's just going to happen, and it's going to be amazing.
I've played in a lot of bands, across the spectrum, you name the type of the gig. It's just that I know that the real key to success when it comes to like funk rock or rock and roll, this is like the front man. And
yeah,
sometimes you meet a guy that John, when we first met up, he didn't really have any experience at it, but he just had the motivation. Here's a good story about John that I know about. Chris, the guitarist he's talking about, you don't know how many times I had to go through this. It was just hilarious. And the turnout is always the same. Chris goes, I don't know, man. We should find a new guy. I don't think John's working out. And I go, oh, he's not working out. He goes, yeah. I was like, well, let's go tell John that, right? I said, let's go tell John that. I just want you to watch his reaction. And he goes, okay. So we walk up to John, and it was kind of cruel to do, but I had to show Chris something. And we go to John. We meet him in the driveway. And I go, John, I'm sorry, but we're moving in a different direction. We're going to have to let you go. And John goes, what? He goes, my life. He goes, I can't believe you're doing this to me. Not the band. He goes, please, not the band. No, I need this. And then I turn to Chris and I go, that's what you need in the band. That's what you need. I was like, I don't think he's going anywhere, Chris. Let's talk about your motivations for a second. I was like, and Chris, his motivations were just so off key. I was like, you can't compare to that. And a good frontman to a band is like life or death. And you know it when you see it. As soon as you get it, it just lights up. And I saw that happen so many times with John. He gets on the stage and everybody lights up. All of a sudden, everybody's going, what's going on? What's happening? And it's like before you show up to the gig, people are already wondering what's going to happen. It was undeniable after a while. It was just, it was cool. Yeah, he really took control of that.
Where did you guys come up with your sound? I mean, it sounds like it just sort of happened, but like, did you have an idea? You were like, okay, we're going to do like funk, or did it just sort of steamroll into like this huge sound?
I think our sound was built from the fact that we all still continue to like different music. Like I'm like really into like things like deep cut funk, like really industrial fucking 9 Inch Nails. Like I'm super into that whole situation, Wu-Tang. Like I'm like really into like fucking rap music, and like I'm like a huge but gangster rap, none of that fucking soft shit.
So then let's talk about the songs that he sent me. Tell me about PhD.
So
go ahead.
I know that's a loaded question, which is why I asked it.
So the PhD.
What do we say?
No, PhD. So the song's entitled Perry's Hippie Dick, and so that's like what its like original name was. We were joking around with, but we call it PhD as in like this is our So that's like the band. That's what we call it as Perry's Hippie Dick. But PhD, it means that it's our doctorate into Denver funk. So that song encompasses what we think Denver funk is. And we go through different colors, I believe, and shades. And we break it up and we get it together. And we really think that that's Denver funk, because we think our sound is just like, if people ask us, we say it's BBW sex funk or Denver funk. Sometimes I have to equate it to like James Brown, because for a while there, when I said it was funk band, people were like, oh, like Fish, or like, like String Cheese or anything like that. I'm like, oh God.
Funk was rather abstract for a while. It's kind of like we want to put a definitive on what it is.
Mm-hmm. Right.
With me on that song PhD, what I appreciate about it is in its format. When it first starts, that first like verse, very upbeat. It's very upbeat.
Yes.
Right? And then it's when that the second part comes up, it like makes it even more upbeat. It breaks down the rhythm, and then it picks the rhythm back up. And then it's funny when it gets to the third part, the original riff that we played, even though it's the original riff, it seems to pick it up again. So through that song, it just seems like continual pickup. And it's very simple, but it's just funny that we use the first riff and that picks it up, and then the second part plays out and that picks it up, and then the third part, which is essentially the first part. But even then you listen to the same part again, and it seems to pick up the energy again. It just continually picks up the energy through the song, and then it comes with the sharp cut at the end, which sort of kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's a cool part.
Did you get that? It goes up and then down and then up and down and then up and down.
And then it goes like this way.
Up, and then inside.
This way.
It's time to show you, girl.
sometimes it's a 4-piece, sometimes it's like 20 people. Who are the main people in the group besides you guys?
Just like me and Chase, and that's pretty much
You guys.
I always said that as long as my heart's beating, the Rowdy Shadehouse is still around.
Okay.
Yeah, so. As long as I'm alive, I'm going to make sure that it goes. The thing about with the Rowdy Shadehouse is it's kind of a cool thing is that there have been so many reiterations of band makeup and people that come in and give their kind of take on it. We make recordings of all the rehearsals and everything, so we do get the opportunity to pick the best parts for different musicians. But because of the nature of Shadehouse, the really cool thing about it is in Denver there are a lot of people that know our set list, so we get around easily. Like if somebody can't make it, we already know a couple people that already know the basic materials that they can sign on really quick, so we're able to execute on any type of opportunity relatively quickly. No matter what stage we're in, we can always get a band together because the parts are laid out in so many different varieties at this point.
And let's talk about your bass playing for a second, because you are a very good bass player. Oh my God, like I was like, oh my! In every song I listen to, there is a driving bass line. And he said you were classically trained. How long had you been playing bass?
Well, my story is it's kind of weird. I was in a college, and I didn't even know what the instrument was really, but I was good at studying. And there was this rock and roll band that was doing really well in the college town. And I was friends with the drummer. We were really good friends for a long time. And he goes, Chase, we need a bass player. I was like, what? He was like, bass player? I've never done that. He goes, it's really easy. Just do this. And I was like, okay. And he was like Led Zeppelin, a little ZZ Top, just driving bass lines. I did, in a month. And actually, longer than that, I think it was like 2 or 3 months. I gave the semblance of the bass player, and I got on stage and pulled the gig, and then all of a sudden his name was TJ. He gives me $300. I was like, what? And he goes, yeah. I was like, what is this? And he goes, no, it's $300. It's the gig. And I was hooked.
You're like, oh, that's it?
I was like, oh shit. I was like, are you kidding me? I'm hooked. I was like, that's awesome. And then not only that, it was like we partied up until the show. I was so nervous. I didn't know what I was doing. I've never really been in front of a large audience, but I did some acting before. But getting in front of the audience, then seeing the reaction it was, everything was just golden. Everybody just loved it. I was screwing up, and nobody noticed. It's very cool. When John says classically trained, I think what he's pointing out to is I was in the Army Jazz Band for a little while.
Okay.
Yeah, and I recommend that for any musician that thinks they want to make the cut. The Army Jazz Band, if you can get past that audition.
The other jam he sent, Slick Skin.
Yeah.
I like the lyrics of that one. And the live track you sent me, when I say everybody was on point, oh my God. I don't even know how you guys came up with that. It's so good. It really is. You guys are really good. Your bass is it's fantastic. Your drummer's hitting that one pretty heavy. Is that the same drummer you guys have right now, or like you said, they kind of come and go?
Perry Abbott, I would say Perry Abbott formed the sound of our style. I think when Perry joined the band, we fully realized our style and potential as a band. He is just one of the best musicians, overall people I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, it's good. I could hear he was hit really hard.
He took everything in his life out on stage, and it was beautiful because he was such an angry person for such a long time, and it was so beautiful to see him you look back and he'd just be
get it out,
just be fuck yeah, I don't know, next level. And he'd get mad at you if you didn't let him do it.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen,
advice you could give somebody who is trying to do music, which is weird to say because as I say it, I'm like, you don't try to do music, you kind of do it, or you want to or you don't. But what, you know what I mean? Like,
get ripped off. It's broken bones. It's
yeah.
thrown out, sold secondhand. People steal your stuff. The band gets in fights. You find that you get fights with the bar owners. It just goes on, and you get paid nothing for the longest time. I'd say that's what it takes. If you get over that, then it's fine.
I would like to write down that song too as like a point. Like every time I hear that song, I'm just like, holy fucking shit! And we're not even there.
You're not even there.
We're not even
You
there.
can't avoid
all of that.
You
Like
don't-
we dealt with every
you
single
look back.
one of them.
You look back and you go, oh my god.
Sometimes twice.
Yeah.
Those things can't get off the list because it's going to happen again.
Yeah,
You
it
know
just
what I mean?
happens
Like,
over and over.
happening.
It's like if you like, it's like that lyric. If you like one night stands, then try to make it in a rock and roll band. Just try to make it if you like that. But when it comes down to something like, starting out music, I would point to my friend John here and say, you got to have the heart for it. If you don't have the heart for it, you're just not going to make it.
So, Chase, what's your favorite thing about doing music?
I like to say the girls.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, it's the girls.
That's like 8 out of 10 what guys say to me when I ask that question. It's hilarious.
What I like to do is because I live like kind of an ordinary life,
Right.
Stuff like that. You can date you start dating, and like, oh my god, they're into your thing, they like everything about you, and then you just drop the bomb on them. You just go, oh yeah, by the way, so this is my rock and roll show. What? It's like, yeah, I play in a rock and roll band. We're actually pretty good. Sorry, I haven't told you or anything, but that's what we're doing tonight. Specific. And then you get them to show up, and it's the expression they get on, and then it was, they get connected because we also have, the band itself draws. We've got a bunch of girls that come on to our shows. Hey guys. But we have, but there's a bunch of girls that come on and they comment, oh my god, I never thought, or oh my god, you guys are really good, and then they all start hanging out. It's kind of a magical thing. But the girls are definitely a motivation for me.
What about you, John?
I like I said, I like being able to be myself.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've always looked to be a part of a team or a part of something, bigger than myself. Whatever I have to lend to that aid, as long as it's like helping people and stuff like that, makes me feel real good. So that's like my favorite part about it.
Okay.
It's less cool. It's less cool than just the chicks, but I'd like to think that. I don't know. I like to hope one day, people listen to my music and it gets them through tough times or shit, man. Everyone wants to keep sleeping house, that's good.
Another thing that you can get really into with, when you play like the bigger audiences, when you have a bunch of people that have bought tickets to your show, and they paid a hefty price, it's kind of a cool thing to know. But the cool thing is, like, I'd honestly communicate this to any musician that's doing it, is when you're with like a band, it doesn't matter. It matters that you like the people in the band, you love them, and what you get to experience when you're on stage, especially after all the rehearsals and stuff like that, is what I was talking about before. It's like a psychic. There is like a psychic element to reality, I'd like to say.
Yeah.
Because when John's on the stage and I know where he's going with the song, I know what he's going to cut in, I know the enunciations he's going to do. It's like telepathy, and it's a conversation. Like when you open yourself to it, you hear each individual instrument. It's like you can tell. It's like, oh, you can tell the guitarist is having a bad day. He's having a bad conversation. You can tell he's in his head. You can tell like what they're thinking about, and then you can tell when they're in it. You can say, all right, now they're in it. John exemplifies it. He'll actually turn back and be like, what, get in it. Like it comes across. It's very psychic because you feel the energy to it, and there's a flow to it. And the cool thing when you build up with the audience, you get the response from the audience. So isn't that psychic? I mean, like everybody's basically thinking the same thing, and we're like transmitting it. It's like you're transmitting this like thing that everybody's responding to, and everybody's like in it. And not only that, it kind of makes them move. And like this thought that's coming from our telepathic conversation is having a psychic element that's communicating with a large audience that's bigger than any one single individual. So it's a cool aspect to it. You can get really into it.
It's like its own language. Really is.
And then I would say the outfits. I like the outfits. I like getting all glittered out. I like going and just getting in the tightest thing I can find, and like, you know,
Yeah.
I think 2021 is going to be the year of the cod piece, and I might get like some like real sparkled out cod pieces. You know,
Yeah,
I think it might be the
that
year.
could
of the cod
work.
piece.
Bring it back. You know,
Yeah.
just bring it back.
Last question. What is your craziest show that you can think of? The one that you, well, not the craziest, but the one that you like the most that you will never forget.
I don't know if I should talk about this, but George Clinton was playing at the Telluride Blues show, and we knew a couple of the guys. And they invited us to open up for him. That's what we were told, to open up for George Clinton. They were like, "Oh my God,
Absolutely,
so amazing!" So we drive up there, we get ready for the show, and so this is what happened. We go down to, I forget how this exactly played out, but we showed up there and we're just overwhelmed. You're overwhelmed by this production. We got to warm up the instruments, warm out their site, play a tune of ours. We played a tune of ours with all their gear. It was very cool. And everybody's hanging out. Everyone's going, you're awesome. We were young. We were hot. And this guy goes, "You guys want to meet George Clinton?" And we were like, yeah. We were like, yeah. And from what I remember, I think I got this wrong, but this is how it transmitted in my mind.
Yeah.
Was we go to this trailer. They invite us in, and George Clinton is sitting there like eating finger foods.
Now, check this out. So this is what happens, right? So
what happened
was, right? So we walking back, and George Clinton, and to this day, I'm still friends with him on Facebook and his wife, and they're amazing people, and I love them and stuff. And so anyway, so I walk back, and he has the dreads. This is before he lost the dreads and stuff. This is like how old we were, right? And so he's like sitting, and there's 3 piles of salad. And when I say salad, I mean chicken salad, egg salad, and what I was later told was ham salad.
Okay.
Yeah. Think about, and it's because it was like pink. It's like a pink salad thing, right? And there were cheeses and crackers and little grapes and things like that, like a charcuterie of like things, but there was like piles of salad. Well, George Clinton was reaching into these piles, and he was eating like handfuls of salad, right? And this is what we walked into. We were just like, and then this guy, Sir Nose, right? Sir Nose. I don't know if you're familiar with Parliament Funkadelic, but there's this guy that goes, "You can't dance," and they're like, "Sir Nose, get out of the way," like they're like, "Get out, Sir Nose," like, mom, and Sir Nose is like, "Hi," and his whole thing is, I'm trying to make people not dance, and so they hit him with the bop gun, and he starts dancing, right? Well, Sir Nose is a real person. But he loves to jam, but he's more of a hype man than anything, right? So he's in back, and he's the one that led us back. And
he's a contortionist.
Yeah, and he's a contortionist, right? The man just turned 50. He just turned 50, and he was jacked, ripped. Like he was fucking ripped. Like he was like, holy shit! Like he told us. I was like, damn, man, how old are you? Because I don't know what's wrong with me, but I always ask people their age. And so he was like, I'm 50 years old. I was like, God damn, dude. He was like in the best shape I've ever seen anybody. Anyway, like up close. But so he led us back, and that's when George Clinton was literally eating these salads, right? He was like eating these salads. And like I said, chicken salad, tuna salad, and like ham salad. Okay.
It's a well-balanced diet.
Yeah,
it's a well-balanced diet,
right? And so Sir Nose, I'm standing next to Sir Nose, and I'm sure we had faces. I'm sure we were all just like,
what the hell?
because like we were all just like slack-jawed, because the next thing I felt, because I was walking in first, because I was like, like the front man, it's good, and so I felt him go like this, and I was like, because he was tall, so I was looking up, and I'm not very big either, you know what I mean? But I was looking up, and he goes, "Hey, man, G wants to know if he could use your glasses." And I was like, oh, my sunglasses? And I had these 1974 Ice-T vintage sunglasses, and I loved them, and I prized them because of the fact that they were ski sunglasses that were made to stay to your face. And I freaked out on stage, and so they would stay on your face no matter what. And I put those things through the ringer, and they stayed right on my face, And so he goes, yeah, George wants this. And I was like, yeah, George Clinton, go ahead. And so he grabs them, George Clinton does, with his salad hands. He has salad fingers, and he fucking grabs them out of my hand, and it's getting salad all over my sunglasses. I'm like, God, shit. But it's George Clinton, we're young, so it's just kind of like, oh, well, okay, George.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
George.
But I'm boiling. I'm feeling it inside, it's starting to, my high skis. Ooh, you're famous. Yeah. Like, and so he puts them on, and this chick who hasn't looked up for the entire time, I later found out was his wife, and an amazing lady, honestly, Carla. She looked up and she goes, oh my God, you look great. And he's going like this, and he's like looking, and salad is still on his hands. He just sits there, and all of a sudden he starts going like this. He starts going like that. He goes, and then all of a sudden I see Suno's pull down his hat, because he was wearing a hat like with a brim. He like pulled it down, and they all started like jamming, and we're sitting there like, what the fuck is going on? This is cool. We're all looking at each other, like, like trying to give looks but seem cool, because we're like, hey, what's up, like. But yeah, and George Clinton all of a sudden just, and I have no idea how he heard what was going on stage. But the next thing I knew, we were walking out, and when he was clapping, he was right on beat to the ding 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 ding. And I'm like, this guy's a fucking legend. He fucking feels it like that from the stage. Like, he probably just felt, and he'd been doing it so long, he probably just felt the vibrations in the floor or something, and it was just like, oh, that's Bob Good, that's my cue. You know what I mean? And then he just fucking started fucking marching the stage. So we're all cruising out in the line like some big shits. You know what I mean? Like, and we're thinking to ourselves, we're gonna hit the stage with Parliament Funkadelic. This is our moment.
Right.
This is us right here. He's wearing my sunglasses. There's no way we're in. I did this. We're in. Like rolling up the stage. Everybody's hi, Bob Gunn. Protect yourself. Yeah, 20 people backstage. Yeah, that's us. We're going cruising. And out of nowhere, I get this like this fucking huge fucking dude fucking just throws a fucking arm up right in front of me. I'm like, whoa, man. Whoa, right. And he goes, you can't go out there. He goes, that's band only. And I was like, oh, we're in the band. We played before. I was like, you didn't see us play? We were rocking, man, And he was like, no, man. He goes, that's band only. And I was like, but George Clinton's got my sunglasses. And literally, as I said that, and we both looked up, and I was pointing, George Clinton took off my sunglasses and just threw them in the crowd. And this guy looked at me, and he goes, what sunglasses? And I went, shit, right? And so we fucking made our way past all the people we were saying hi to, past all the people we were big shits in front of, right? Everybody, we were like, yeah, right, wish you could be us. We were like tail tucking, like all the way back to like the green room area where we were getting fucking hit up for like hits of weed, like it was fucking, because these people came from all over the country to try to play with George Clinton. Like literally 50 guitar players showed up to play, and like he only wanted to play with like 3 or 4, right? And so,
Yeah.
Like they're all just like back there, but we played with George Clinton back in the day, and fucking they all names like Cool Cat Keith, and just like it was like weird, right? Like, and so we're all back there, right? And the only thing that really saved it for me was, one, we got to play with all our instruments and open, and that was a great experience. This story, another. But the third thing that I took away from this entire thing is I saw that big ass fucking dude eating a chicken salad sandwich, and I fucking couldn't help but think George Clinton's hands, as funky as they were all up in that salad. You know what I mean? Just like eating a fucking sandwich, watching the show, all happy. I was just like, oh, bachelor.
Yeah. So that happened. Okay, that happened. But the craziest show in my mind is we booked the gig that night after George Clinton's show at this like bar, like that was right there. And oh my God, they all showed up after George Clinton show. They just went to, it was like one of the popular bars. They all show up to our show, and that was also another night where the sweat was just raining. I remember playing the bass, and my hand I was soaking wet. And it went on for a long time, and that was the craziest show because there were so many people, and it was after everybody was like, doing whatever chemicals they were doing, but they all showed up to the show, and we rocked house. We went straight through, and it was like 3 hours. We went into wee hours. It was very cool. Just kept playing, and we heard comments. Oh my God, you're so much better. Right. Yeah, you're so much better than doing such a great show, and we had a story to boot to go with it, so it is very cool.
So you did a show, met him, and then went and did another show all in the same night.
Yeah, we lined it up. We knew that we figured that we were actually going to get on stage with George Clinton and then go back to our, that. But it really didn't even matter. They all showed up to it. It was just the bar. We do all our own booking, really, so we knew which bar to hit. And that was the one. And it was packed. It was really packed. That night, it went really well.
I want to ask you about upcoming shows because I always do, but there aren't any, so that's stupid. I'm not gonna ask that.
Well, we have a stream. We're gonna start live streaming. We've got a live stream coming up, and anybody that wants to listen to it, just check on to the Facebook page. We're using the JJ Rowdy Shadehouse, right? Mm-hmm. JJ Rowdy Shadehouse. Like it, of course. Become a fan. Stay connected. Drop a line or whatever. It's always cool. We like to respond to the fans. And what's it called? We do have a live stream coming up pretty quick, which will be full immersive. It'll be the real deal. It'll be real deal. Practice up. It's gonna have a new flavor to it. It should sound a little bit heavier, a little bit more syncopated. Should be really driving. Something you would really want to listen to with headphones. Just because of the way that it all kind of goes together. And then your eyes will be attracted by what's happening. We're going to be lining that up. So of course the Facebook page, become a friend, give us a like or whatever, and you can see it.
Do you have any other ways for people to get a hold of you? Do you have like YouTube, email?
We do have a lot of YouTubes, but we've done a lot of that. But so far, I'd say contact us on the Facebook page is the best way to go, and just keep your eyes on. Always Google search. You'll always find out what we're up to.
Yeah.
And to all the musicians out there, go on Reverb Nation. You can always add on that. Do a Reverb Nation, drop a line on that, or do Band Mix. I'm always on that. That's another way to get in touch. We're always doing stuff, so you can always contact us through those means.
You also could link up with our OnlyFans and our Patreon too.
And the last track of the show is Bad Man.
Love you guys.
right, guys, that was Chase and John of Rowdy Shadehouse. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope you enjoyed the music. Please make sure you check these guys out on Facebook. Get in touch with them. You like them, follow them, subscribe. If you want to reach out, if you feel like you'd like to be part of what they do, or you're a musician who's looking for somebody to play with in the Denver area, you can reach out to them via Facebook or Bandmix. And thank you so much for listening. I do want to let you all know that there won't be an episode next Monday as there usually is, and I do apologize. It is my last week at my current job, and I've got so many great interviews coming for you. I've already got February and part of March booked up. This is going to be fantastic. Hang in there. Thank you for listening. Be kind and make some fucking noise.